Okay, so my paper I'm writing is for class and it is on juveniles being tried as adults. So I think I'm first going to use the internet, just the web, to gather some basic information to see what I'm going to be looking at, and then use the library super search and stuff like that to gather more specific and I guess specific, I don't know, reliable sources. Not that the internet isn't reliable, but I can count on super search more. So I'm going to Google it first. And I've never used Google Scholar before. I think I'm just going to start on this because this is what I would normally do. I don't want to deviate from my normal research methods. So there are a lot of news networks and websites that have specific cases, and I would use that just as like reference, but I try not to get most of my information from news sites just because they can be biased depending on who they work for, what the situation is. Let's see. So I just typed in, you can probably see that, juveniles being tried as adults. So I'll probably just click on the first source. Doesn't mean it's going to be the best, but let's see what happens. So this is a .org website, and sometimes I mostly try to look to see if they're credible, but it's harder with some websites because it takes away from the actual research time I have. So I'm gonna look at CNN for a moment and see what they have. So I'm finding that CNN, like I thought originally, being a news network, is strongly opinionated, and I like to look for unbiased information. Even though this is a controversial topic, it's clear that they have an opinion on this, because it says, nobody with a soul can seriously ignore the tragic nature of the death of a child, obviously. However, two wrongs don't make a right. Prosecuting a child for a murder and sending them to prison for life is tragic in and of itself. That's right off the bat telling you exactly what position of this topic they are on, and it's good to get basic information from sites like this, like cases, but like many different news stories, they can flip the situation in the way that they want the viewer to, I guess, read it. So, let's see. It's good that they cite their sources, which I guess they have to because they're a news source, but which makes them more credible when it comes to facts, because I know a lot of sites don't show you exactly where they got their information. You kind of have to search for it, but they have hyperlinks that if you click on the word, it'll show you where they got the statistics or something. So that's news. And so I have a basic idea of what this is, so I might just go onto the library page. And when using research tools like this, I like to start off with the scholarly journals and stuff like that first, because I don't want to look for books in specific, because sometimes that's harder to gather information from because you have to search the whole book. And yep, let's see. And I think I heard somewhere that the library system doesn't organize the sources in like popularity and reliability like I guess Google does. It's kind of, that's what I heard. I'm not sure, because you can do relevance and then, but maybe what you're looking for could be on like the 4th or 5th page. Okay, let's see. Let me go back to the internet really quick. Some states have an automatic transfer laws that require juvenile cases to be transferred to an adult criminal court if the following are true. The offender is a certain age or older, usually 16. The charges involve serious offense such as rape or murder. Well, there are a lot of cases that juveniles have not been tried as adults and it's been rape and murder, so that's debatable. So this time I changed it. Instead of looking at juveniles being tried as adults, I'm looking at the other side, which would be juveniles not being tried as adults, and seeing what that justification is. Because apparently, according to CNN, no matter the crime, a child is a child, and if they, I guess it's because their brain hasn't fully developed, that you're basically ruining their life and future by trying them as an adult and putting them away and doing that. So I want to see what the other side, I guess hopefully they have some information on that. So two assumptions are behind recent legislation passed in many U.S. states, which makes it easier to try juvenile offenders as adults. Young offenders will receive sentences in adult criminal system which are harsher and more proportional to their crimes. The threat of this harsh punishment will result in lower juvenile crime rates. To date, there is no extensive research comparing the lengths of prison sentences received by juveniles convicted of criminal court with those who remained in the juvenile system. Okay, so let's see. Okay, great. They cite their sources in the footnotes, which is relieving because then you can, count them as more credible. I don't see much distinct bias in the thing, so I would count this more credible, definitely more credible than CNN. Okay, so back to super search. And when I'm researching with super search, if I type something in, I look at the title and see like if it relates to my topic and it's not going off topic, and then if I do like it, I'll click on it and then read the abstract. And then within the abstract, if I see that what I'm looking for is somewhere in there, I'll either add it to the folder if I'm logged in or download the PDF. And this is stuff that I learned in my 1102 class, because usually I'd probably not do that. I find requiring sources from SuperSearch in the library system is more reliable and more beneficial than just telling kids that they can, or students, that they can just find any kind of source, because these are more reliable than the internet. If you're looking, it's easier to find more reliable information. So let's see. And like sites like this, that are like 7 top pros and cons, like they're good reads, I guess, but I wouldn't find them completely reliable. I don't know. I usually try to go towards image of the site always matters, so in my opinion. So if I look at a site and it's not like a government site, I like really trust government sites. I feel like they're looked at the most, therefore they have to be the most reliable. You're not going to find many flaws on the White House site or like FBI site or anything like that. But I guess something like Green Garage Blog, where it has blog in the name, it might have good information to start you off and get like ideas as to what you want to look into further, but I wouldn't source from them. And then, like I said, more biased, opinionated sites like Keep Youth Out of Adult Courts, Jails, Prisons. 10 pros and cons. Okay, ABC News. And I think my teacher said that using Huffington Post can be more reliable than, I guess, like Times or something like a lower rated news article. So let's see. And this one also, I think, has, yep, it has the hyperlink things to its sources. So at the age of 16, faces life, removed from world of teenagers. Okay, so this site is good because it states statistics and then it shows you the source that they got it from, and then if you want to know if that source is reliable, click on the hyperlink and then look at the website, and it's a .gov from the Department of Justice, and I would rely on that. I think that's credible. So I just continue reading and get, like, it says statistics. 10% of all homicides are committed by juveniles under the age of 18. Nearly every year, the FBI arrests more than 33,000 young adults. Okay, so, and since this is an opinionated, controversial topic, it is going to be harder to find sources that are completely neutral. So that's why I'd probably stick to finding something on the library system, because peer review usually tends to be more fact related, but not that it definitely does have some bias in it depending on who you're reading, but compared to a news source where they try to appeal to a specific audience, I would probably pick Super Search over it. And usually I keep up with my sources by either leaving my tabs open, which I guess is kind of like cluttering, but what I learned in 1102 is to, like, add the folder or even save the PDF and then put them all into a single folder in your, let's see if I can find it. Is it this one? Yeah, in your finders. So you could just like go to files or something, open up a new tab. Is that one? Oh. It's easier with my laptop. But... So yeah, and then they all add up, and then you can even put it on your desktop, and then whenever you need your sources, and just label them the way you need them. And then it also has, not the site, that's not what I meant to click, the permalink, which I also learned in 1102, which I think is a very important class because this is where I've learned to organize my sources better. And then I would like copy that and put it all on there, and it would make it easier. Personally, I don't really like annotated bibliographies to organize sources because I feel like it takes time. If you have a long project, maybe it's resourceful, but when it comes to a paper that maybe you only have like a couple weeks to work on, I would rather just read the abstract, go into the PDF, see if I have any reliable information, put it in a permalink or a folder, and then come back to it and learn it later, rather than the long way of like creating a whole structured annotated bib. I guess the most important thing when it comes to like super search is the changing of keywords.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay, great.
15 minutes. So let me save this real quick. Hang on. Stop recording.